Una silla de masajes puede parecer extravagante. 8 configuraciones diferentes, intensidad ajustable, además es calefaccionado. Y se siente tan bien. Sí, una silla de masajes puede parecer extravagante. Y 2, bueno, aún más. Pero cuando esas sillas de masajes vienen con un auto, se vuelven bastante prácticas. El nuevo Volkswagen Tiguan 2025 con funciones premium como los asientos delanteros con masaje disponibles. Solo parece extravagante.
Mint is still $15 a month for premium wireless. And if you haven't made the switch yet, here are 15 reasons why you should. 1, it's $15 a month. 2, seriously, it's $15 a month. 3, no big contrast. 4, I use it. 5, my mom uses it. Are you playing me off? That's what's happening, right? Okay, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan. $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
This episode is brought to you by Mott's Applesauce. So you're looking for a snack your kid will love and you can feel great about? Give him a Mott's no sugar added applesauce pouch. Made from real, delicious apples. And a good source of vitamin C, too. Perfect for tossing in a lunchbox or grabbing for on the go. Mott's. Real apples make real good applesauce. Learn more about Mott's no sugar added applesauce at Mott's.com.
Love espresso, drip coffee, and cold brew? With the Ninja Luxe Cafe, if you can crave it, you can brew it. Espresso, balanced. Drip coffee, rich. Cold brew in a flash. With Barista Assist technology, you brew with no stress and no guesswork and make perfect silky microfoam hands-free from dairy or plant-based milks. Shop the Ninja Luxe Cafe at ninjakitchen.com.
Hey, good evening and welcome to the Uptown Parlay Podcast. Now your host, Ace.
Is this the first episode?
Yes, it is.
Is this the first episode of our new situation?
Of our new situation, which we will get into. Welcome to the Uptown Parlay Podcast. We got Ace, Malik, and Levon. How y'all doing?
What's going on, man?
Doing good, feeling good. How about you?
Start of a new season, start of a new thing, new year, feeling fresh. Things are going well.
Yeah. Levon?
Vibes are what they are right now. It's been a rough month, but excited, obviously, for the new season to get started. Hope springs eternal for all fans of the National Football League during this time.
Everybody's 0-0, you know? You haven't lost yet.
Yeah, everybody's 0-0, square one. Nobody's better than anybody. Everybody's got the MVP on their team, the Rookie of the Year, the Defensive Rookie of the Year, Coach of the Year. It's optimism season. It's optimism season.
That's what we major in.
Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite time of year. And college football is starting or has started. Weeks are already happened. My school's playing tonight, trying to see if they can get an upset, but that seems unlikely. Buffalo's down 13-3, so they gave up another field goal to Minnesota, but we will move on. We're still covering, getting 16.5 points, so I'm happy about that bet. Hopefully we can squeeze out a touchdown in the fourth quarter or in the third. We're holding them to field goals. Maybe those field goal us to death, but who knows? My Bears look good, but I'm not happy about
They do? Have they done? I thought we were still at week 0. What good did they? Oh, you're being optimistic.
Yes. Are you not?
The videos have been good, I guess.
You said the Bears look good. I thought I missed week 1 and 2 or something like that.
Oh, you didn't pay attention to the preseason.
Oh, you mean they look good during those games that didn't count? What exactly occurred during those games that has you thinking the Bears look good?
Well, the second game, I mean, Caleb Williams threw touchdown passes, and both the times that he actually got onto the field, operated the offense. You know, didn't get sacked. That was a good thing.
Got it.
You know. Are you not? No? You're not?
No, I'm always optimistic. Preseason counts very little. for me. I think Malik would feel the same way. His Lions went undefeated one preseason and then went on not to win one regular season game. So preseason is not a good
I mean, why are you bringing up old stuff?
indicator of what is to come. You need to just look at the roster. Is the roster changed? Has it not?
Okay.
Have any players gotten better? Things like that, which we already knew before preseason. But preseason counts for, other than hoping everybody's healthy, stays healthy, and starts, on the field and not on IR, preseason counts for nothing.
Really? So you think it has no bearing on anything?
I think it's good for the players to get ramped up, as they like to say, but as an indicator of what's to come, it means zero.
Captain Optimism over here, folks.
No, you can be optimistic, but not count the preseason. Be optimistic because I don't know what the Bears did. Did they add anybody?
Yeah, we changed everything around. Yeah,
you got a new coach. There's optimism. New coach, new system, clean slate. But don't talk about touchdowns thrown in the preseason.
I mean, if your starting quarterback got in there and was playing against, some backups and a few starters and threw 0 touchdowns, that wouldn't give you cause for concern if they look bad?
It means nothing.
Looking bad. So wait, playing bad in the preseason means nothing.
I just told you, teams go undefeated in the preseason and go on to win like 2 games.
So if you lose all your games, it doesn't matter.
It does not matter. Joe Burrow got sacked how many times in that preseason game and looked awful?
Yeah.
I doubt he looks like that when the season starts.
All right.
Yeah, I'd say for no other reason than to, from a player's perspective, especially the starter's perspective, if for no other reason than to kind of, just get your feet wet, play against some live competition that's actually allowed to hit you versus competition that's not allowed to hit you, and your own teammates. And then from a coaching perspective, when you're talking about your starters, it's maybe you implement some play calls that maybe you want to try out against a defense that's never seen it before. You want to just, try out some new things or whatever. But, for the most part, that's really all I gather from it. I like watching the preseason games because I like seeing the guys that are trying to make the team. I think Hard Knocks, HBO Hard Knocks, open that up in terms of like really telling the story about some of the players that are on the fringe, and then you get to watch those players play in the game. And so kind of ever since then, that's what I watch preseason football for, not really for the value of, you know, who looks good or anything along those lines, but more just to see like who's that guy that, nobody's talking about that might spark, that might make your team, that might make your squad. And then rookies, seeing how the rookies come out and play in their first NFL, opportunities. I will say, speaking positively, Jackson Dart showed out, in the preseason. That doesn't necessarily mean he's gonna replicate the same in the regular season, but he showed at the very least, why the Giants were confident in taking him and not taking, other quarterbacks, in that position, and he showed that whatever Brian Dable is doing to work with him has been working, right? And is been, beneficial and valuable. So, those are the things that I think preseason does for the players and particularly for me, speaking from my perspective. But yeah, the outcomes of the games, that's neither here nor there. I don't put anything on it.
I don't mean to cut you off. To Malik's point, that stuff. What? To Malik's point, that stuff is for the coaches, the trainers, and the players. We'll never be close enough to see development, progression. I agree. If I could know exactly how well a Jackson Dart or a Abdul Carter is progressing, or the 40th guy on the roster, then yeah, I would be super interested in it. But we don't get that information. We get the surface stuff, and
you need better sources.
They tell us nothing. I mean, I don't know if you guys get a chance to do it, but I'm always listening to the coaches' interviews, player interviews.
Why?
And then Yeah, why exactly, bro?
Why do you listen to the coach's interviews? Coach
I mean,
speak is
because
useless.
that's the whole. That's supposed to be the point of it. The point of the coach standing in front of the media answering questions. The media is a conduit to the fans. He's there to tell us what we want to know about our teams. But nowadays, it's just blanket statements and vague platitudes, and it's like you get nothing from it. But I still listen because I'm a fan, and I'm hoping maybe something might eke out that is actually interesting and valuable. But yeah, we won't know until the season starts if this guy was really improving or any of that stuff. Soon as the bullets start to fly and everybody it counts, then we'll see. And that's just after all my years of watching football. I've been super optimistic from preseason and all that stuff, and I just realized, man, it doesn't really matter. Week 1 starts and you lose by 30 to a team you're supposed to beat, Minnesota, at
Got some
home.
positivity today, huh?
I'm just, I'm very optimistic. I saw Jackson Dart like Malik did, like everybody else. I mean, he's
Well,
not going to play this year
Yeah.
if we are any good.
well, let me put
You
it
know,
to you like this: I look at it like summer league. I'm not saying this means your team's going to go to the Super Bowl or even make the playoffs, but you don't want your first round picks to go out there and look terrible and put up no points. That would be terrible. That would be bad. But we're not exactly hanging summer league banners for winning the summer league title either.
Charlotte did.
Yeah, well,
Well, I don't
Charlotte
watch.
Hornets.
I
Speaking of the
don't watch
Charlotte Hornets,
summer
shout
league.
out to the All Hornets podcast network, who we are now associated with through Fans First Sports Network. When you're the Charlotte Hornets and that's the first championship banner you can put up, you got to put it up. And considering
No,
they've
they
existed
gave
in
out
the NBA
rings.
since we were 8 years old.
They gave out rings. Like they gave out rings to these players, and and
Hey,
and
so did the
obviously they posted a
Lakers.
banner. Look,
When they
we
won,
won't
they
we
gave
won't turn
out
this into a
rings.
basketball podcast. But
Yeah.
I will before we jump like into the other stuff, I will give credit
Mm.
to uh our respective head coaches,
Yeah.
Ace, yours and mine, because to Levon's point, coaches tend to give that, you know, coach speak,
Yeah.
saying very little of anything. Well, the coaches that coach our football teams don't mince words.
No, he was very direct.
Um,
Like, yeah, this
my
isn't good.
coach, my coach Dan Campbell, I can pretty much tell who's going to get cut based off of what he says post game. And
You could tell.
you know, shout out to Hendon Hooker.
Mm.
He was completely. I won't say that Hendon Hook. I don't won't say that Dan Campbell laid him out put him out the drive, whatever. But he was very candid about how Hendon wasn't playing over the course of the preseason. Everybody could see it, and the fact that he got cut was not a surprise because of it.
Okay.
So, to Levon's point, when a coach does come out and actually give you those tidbits of information and let you know what's happening and how they're really feeling about things, it does provide you a little bit more insight than the coaches that just kind of come out there and go like on to next week
Fair
and never
enough.
watch the tape and about it.
Well, I hear you. You don't want your team to go completely defeated and look terrible on both sides of the ball, but you want to see, the guys that are fighting for jobs actually play well. Also don't want to hear them, hype too much because of the preseason, but hey, they're warm-up games. And at least Joe Burrow, I got the hiccups now, may actually be ready to start the season as opposed to the past 2 years where they start 1-4 and then try to rally to make the playoffs. And speaking of which, we are going to start with our division winner picks for the NFL, starting with the AFC West. We're going to go left to right across the country. Malik, Kansas City, Denver, Chargers, Vegas. Kansas City is the favorite to win the division, obviously, at -115, -120 at most of the sports books. The long shot to win the division is Las Vegas at +2,200, +2,000, +1,200 or 1,500, depending on where you want to look. Caesars, BetMGM, DraftKings, FanDuel, all the major books. And whatever local books, if you have state-run ones like they do in Rhode Island. Touchdown Bulls. Down by 3 in the third quarter. Cover that spread, baby. All right. I'm going to keep y'all updated throughout the pod. Malik.
Because that's what we want to hear.
Well, I mean, hey, we're a sports betting podcast, the world's greatest sports betting podcast, as you know. What do you got coming out of this division?
I'll keep it short and sweet. I'll go worst to first, basically. I like. I don't want to say that I like the Raiders to come in fourth, but I do like the Raiders to come in fourth in this division. It's a really good division. It's the first. I think what I read is the first division, or the first time in history that the division is led by four coaches that have all coached in a Super Bowl before, which is
Yes.
it's never happened before.
Yes,
So the
but
strength of the division is the
in
coaches.
fairness, the Denver coaches was the only one that was in the 2000s. He has
No,
not been
well,
back.
Andy Reid. I mean, you mean in terms of
In terms of the one that the
like
last time he was actually in the Super Bowl.
was like in the 2000s. So his is the most like distant in terms of history.
Correct.
Oh, okay, I get it. Um, but so that all said, the addition of Pete Carroll, maybe in a division that doesn't have Andy Reid, Sean Payton, and Jim Harbaugh, would probably land a little bit harder, a little bit better. But in a division like that, I don't think there's a coaching advantage, in my opinion. And then you're just talking about the talent on the field. I think the Raiders are on their way up, but will probably still find themselves in the back of this division. Next up, I'm going to select. Next up, I'm going to pick the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
The Chargers are. They're a weird bunch to dissect. They went to the playoffs last year, looked good in spots, looked really good in most spots. Defensively,
Mm-hmm.
they were the top scoring defense in the NFL. But they just couldn't get over the hump, and Justin Herbert just hasn't hadn't shown yet that he's taken ascended to that level of big game quarterback that everybody seems to already put him at.
No
Uh,
faith in Lad McConkey.
I don't think it's not about faith in Lad McConkey or lack of faith in Lad McConkey. I think they need more than just Lad McConkey and Omari and Hampton and the pieces. Their big acquisition was getting Keenan Allen back. Like that was their biggest
Important.
acquisition. So yeah, I just don't think they have enough to compete. Again, I'll go Broncos second, and then I'll finish out with the Chiefs, finishing this up again. And I believe this year would make it a record 9 straight um, division titles, or tie the record that they would share with New England.
I think that,
So yeah,
yeah, that's
Chiefs.
correct. I think that
Yeah.
Kansas City is most likely to win this division, but I think that Denver is going to finish last. That is my bold prediction. Denver is going to disappoint. I do not have much faith in Bo Nix. And, Denver fans should be optimistic, but I don't see the Broncos getting it done with them guys. They keep talking about this defense, but I don't know. I don't see it. Levon.
Um, well, full disclosure, I didn't know we were doing division predictions. I don't know much about the AFC West
Oh, okay.
outside of the
Moving on then.
headliners. Yeah, I don't know much about it, man. So I'm
All right.
basically shooting in the dark, but Vegas is in last. It seemed like they have the least amount of talent in that entire division. I think beware of second year players. CJ Stroud took a step back. We all know second year players more likely to take a step back than a step forward. Bo Nix shot out pretty quick last year and impressed a lot of people, got a lot of talk. I think he comes back down to earth this year. I do. Um, and I'm just not all. Denver's defense is great, but outside of that, I'm not overly impressed with their team. Um, I believe in the Chargers, contrary to what Malik believes and what they've done recently, which is choke pretty badly in some pretty high stake situations. Jim Harbaugh has a way of coaching good teams. I mean, he brings teams up. He did it with the Niners. He did it with Michigan. And the Chargers were better last year, and I think they'll take another step this year. Justin Herbert is a sure thing. They got back Keenan Allen, but as long as he's not cooked, he's a viable 1A type option.
How many Bears games did you watch last year?
Me?
Yeah. Did you watch any?
Yeah, no. In Atlanta, I didn't get many. I mean, that's why I said, man. I mean, do you think
watched them
Keenan
all.
Allen is cooked? Is he cooked?
He's not, I wouldn't say 100%. He's not well done, but he's medium.
I mean, well, this is no
He's
shot,
medium
but I mean, he
cooked.
had Caleb throwing him the ball, and Caleb didn't really
He
light it on
wasn't-
fire last year. And I
No.
mean, your offensive coordinator, that whole thing was a dumpster fire.
It was. The offense wasn't great. Caleb somehow still threw for 3,500 yards. Keenan Allen had 5 touchdown catches. I think 4 or 5. So what I'm saying is he didn't get great separation, but he did get open. He was able to get some separation. Not on everybody, but he was able to get open. But the problem is that I think the AFC West actually, all around, they have some of the best corners and pass rushers, some of the best defensive teams in the league. So, like, that's kind of the problem with him going back there. Whereas Detroit was winning games in our division 45-42 and just saying, hey, we're just going to put up points and good luck. Try to catch us. We may stop you. We may not. So, he's going back to a tougher division with tougher. So that's why I'm leaning towards the younger of the teams, which would be Vegas and Kansas City. Kansas City repeating with Vegas coming in second.
If the Chargers felt that he was cooked, I doubt they would have brought him back. I don't know their roster.
Yeah.
I don't know what role he's going to play. But if they felt that he could not contribute, I mean, Odell Beckham is still looking for work. So when somebody's cooked in the league, they're cooked in the league. So
you think the Giants give him kick the tires on that, bring him back?
No, Giants are not kicking the tires on that. I said all that to basically say I think the Chiefs come in second. I think the Chargers win that division. Broncos third, and Raiders last. And I say that because I think Kansas City is ready to fall off. Travis Kelce is all but done with football. He's about to get married. He's doing all this other extra stuff. And last year, he even looked like he was a little close to being, ready to be taken out of the oven. And Philly, sometimes you don't recover from that type of beating. It's not a lot of teams that get that type of beating in the Super Bowl and come back the next year and light it on fire. I mean,
in fairness, they went to 3 straight, so I hear you on that.
I can only think of one team that got smacked in the Super Bowl and came back the very next year, and that's the Buffalo Bills. But it's not the 90s anymore. And
but they came back and got smacked again.
I understand this. I was there. I remember. But like I said, it's not the 90s, and that was a pretty historic team that, should have probably won 2, if not more, of those Super Bowls and just never got it done. The Chiefs had their run. They're not very deep at wide receiver. They're getting older at all of their impact positions. And I think, without somebody to throw the ball to, I think the Rice kid is out for 4 games? Kelce.
He's suspended for 6.
He's suspended for 6.
Mm-hmm.
That's one less target. They didn't have that many targets to begin with. They just traded away one of the kids they drafted.
Sky Moore, it wasn't working out. But they
wasn't working out. They traded him. And like I said, Kelce was contemplating retirement at the end of the Super Bowl. I don't know. We'll have to see.
He never said that.
Well, I think he was. I believe he was. If it was reported and it was out there and he had to come out and say, yeah, I'm coming back. They don't just do that when players it's not in the atmosphere. But cut that. I'm gonna just cut it short here. Don't know a lot about the West, but I think it's going to be Chargers, Chiefs, Broncos, Raiders.
All right, we're not going to talk about the bad division, so we're going to skip the AFC South.
You ain't skipping the AFC South
because
I'm in the South.
We don't have.
How are you gonna be a football show and not cover all of the football division?
Okay.
I don't care.
Who's going to win the AFC South, and who's the favorite?
Tampa Bay probably would be the favorite.
AFC.
Oh, AFC South. I just said NFC.
We're going to work through the AFC and then go NFC. It's Houston,
you can't just the Texans are just a year removed from being a darling of the league. I mean, they still have a ton of young talent on defense and on offense. CJ Stroud is on his 3rd year. He should be better. He's still throwing to Nico out there. That's a young ascending team. I don't know why you would just crap on them like
I'm not. I think it's a dead giveaway that they win that division. I don't think Jacksonville is going to do much.
I'm a big Jacksonville Jaguars fan. I believe that team has talent up. Yes.
Since when?
Team has I think when we had these conversations, I was wrong, but I picked Jacksonville to win the division last year, if I'm not mistaken.
That was wrong. Yeah,
it was. I think I think they underachieved, and if it was coaching and their new coach gets this team to perform, it's a lot of talent on that team. It's a lot of talent on that team.
Jacksonville has a new head coach. Tennessee has a new head coach. Indianapolis, same coach.
Tennessee, no, Tennessee is probably
going to be one of the worst teams in the league.
I don't know if they're going to be one of the worst, but they're going to be fighting the Colts for 3 and 4. I think it's between Jacksonville and Houston. I think Houston wins, but I think Jacksonville is relevant this year, like really relevant. Like the year before relevant when they made the playoffs and came back to beat the Chargers in that game.
Okay. I got Houston crushing this division. Daniel Jones is the starting quarterback for the Colts. He has a good run game again with Taylor, so I can't completely hate on him. And when he has a good run game, he usually plays well. Colts defense is still not good, so I don't know. They focused on the offense in terms of drafting. They got offensive linemen. They lost a couple of offensive linemen. The Bears got some away. A couple other teams took some away. So I don't see that improving.
Don't sleep on Daniel Jones. He's got a run game.
No, I'm not. What I'm saying is
better targets.
But if you're telling me Jacksonville's going to win, right?
For a long time.
I think Indianapolis is not as good as Houston, and Indianapolis is not as good as Jacksonville.
No, they're not. No.
So if they come in third again, I wouldn't be shocked. But if you tell me Indianapolis and Jacksonville both go 7 and 10, okay, then Houston just needs to win 9 games and they win the division. So Houston's going to, I think, maybe win 10, go, it's an 17 game season. So they're going to go 10 and 8. They're going to go 10 and 7, and they're going to win this pretty easily by like week 15, maybe, or week.
It's not a super weak division. I wouldn't say it's super weak.
There's a clear-cut best team, and it ain't.
No.
It ain't Jacksonville, and it ain't Indianapolis.
I don't think it's in that division. No one would be surprised if Jacksonville won it. Like that wouldn't. That wouldn't. No, it wouldn't
be. They have a first-year head coach that they would.
It wouldn't be as shocking as if I don't know the freaking Patriots won the NFC East over Buffalo. That's what I mean. It's not out of the realm of possibility that Jacksonville, 1 year away from making the playoffs, turned it around with a new head coach and, snuck in and won that division against the Colts, the Texans, and the Titans. Those aren't the Texans, they got potential, but, they could fall down. It's not like.
They got the best quarterback in the division, and they got the best defenders.
Now, I don't know if they got the best quarterback in the division. Number 1 overall pick is in that division now.
Okay.
Number 1 overall pick is in that division.
Name one receiver on Tennessee.
Oh, man.
Okay. I'm going to move on to Malik.
Well, I can't name a receiver on Miami last year, but he was number 1 overall pick.
Tyreek Hill. Malik.
No. The Hurricanes, man. The Hurricanes.
Calvin Ridley is.
Oh, thank you, Malik. Thank you.
On the Titans.
Thank you, Malik.
Don't bail him out.
Save the day.
Go ahead, Malik.
Lead the license. Calvin Ridley, the captain. He was a captain too. I saw it today.
He might be
named captain.
Yeah, I actually like Jacksonville a lot this year. And funny, the last 2 seasons, 10 and 7 wins this division. So we know that for sure. I like Jacksonville a lot, but Houston has the best defense in this division, and it's not close right now in terms of defensive talent across the board. They may have the defensive player. They may have the defensive player of the year in Will Anderson. He may actually be able to take that. I think he's going to take a huge step forward, and that secondary is something special over there in Houston. So, with the defense that they're working with, even if they're not able to score a lot of points, they still got some issues on their offensive line. Joe Mixon is out again, so it looks like they're going to be handing the ball off to Nick Chubb in a full-time role, which wasn't something that they probably thought they were going to have to do when they signed them to begin with, during the free agency. Nico Collins is back. I still believe Tank Dell is still out. I don't think he's back yet. He may be back at some point in time this season, but I think he is still out. And of course, they had Stephon Diggs last year. They don't have him now this year. So I think offensively, as much as I like CJ Stroud as a player, I don't necessarily see, much explosiveness coming out of that offense. So I think it's going to be a relatively ugly division. And because of that, I think it'll be really close. And because of the NFL is an offensive league, I actually like the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Houston Texans to finish with the exact same record and the Jacksonville Jaguars to take this division. So
Mm.
I'm rolling with the Jaguars to win the division. Houston Texans come in right behind them at 10-7 as well. And then rounding it out, the Colts and the Titans. I kind of like you, Levon. I don't necessarily believe. I just that's just the Titans are multiple years away from
Hmm.
being able to really challenge anything in this division. Cam Ward may be good, but he's going to take his lumps as a rookie. He may have a few good games here or there, but he's going to take his lumps as a rookie. And look, not for nothing, Daniel Jones has had success in the NFL. We've said this. I've said this before. Like Daniel Jones has had success in the NFL. If Shane Steichen can figure out how to manufacture an offense with him, and he has a running back to hand off the ball to, and he has two receivers in Dobbs and Pittman that can catch the ball on the outsides. If this defense plays even a little bit better, who knows? Who knows? I can see 6 wins out of this team. So yeah, I'm gonna go Jaguars, Texans, Colts, Titans for this division.
You don't got to predict them all. But I will say the biggest thing that worries me about the Texans is their offensive line because they got new tackles. So that would be the thing. But except for the fact that they also have the best defense, and Nick Chubb is on their team as a running back. So he's an option for them, even though they're going to be without their star, who I cannot remember his name right now, but he's on IR, scheduled to return. CJ Stroud.
Their star what? Their star what?
Running back.
Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon?
Thank you, Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
They got Christian Kirk, they got Nico Collins, they got Braxton Berrios. Tank is still not back, but they got a rookie, Jaden Higgins, big receiver. I think that's
that was our draft pick, the Higgins kid. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, so I think that'll help them.
That's
But
the pick we traded to get
Jacksonville's a lot. Everybody's got a chance. So you're right in terms of not
Travis Hunter, man. The Travis Hunter effect. We're gonna see what's gonna happen there too.
Heisman Trophy winner. Yeah, and we're gonna move on to the AFC North. My second favorite division, Baltimore. I got taken this. Heavy favorites. Cincinnati in second, Pittsburgh in third, and Cleveland last because they're starting Joe Flacco, who could have gone to high school or college with us. And we are in our early 40s for everybody out there listening to this. And Joe Flacco's...
What's that have to do with the man's talent?
Joe Flacco's a step away. It has a lot. Joe Flacco's a step away from doing... what were those commercials? Copperfit commercials real soon.
Come on.
He's a step away from doing Copperfit commercials.
Oh, man.
So I'm giving this to Baltimore and the team that kind of ran away with it last year. Cincinnati barely has a defense. At least they signed Trey Hendrickson, didn't try to trade him. So, yeah, I'm leaning on Baltimore. Pittsburgh, I don't know about their offense and their running back, but, yeah, Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, offense, and more offense. Malik, go ahead.
Ravens are the best team in this division and might have, one of the most talented offenses in the NFL rosters in the NFL as a whole. Kyle Hamilton's been taken care of. Kyle Hamilton's been taken care of. Lamar's there. Everybody's, there, ready to go, ready to roll. So I can't see them not winning this division. I think Cincinnati will be interesting. I think Cincinnati will, put up a ton of points just like they always do, and probably play no defense just like they always do, and they'll be right back where they're at. Pittsburgh. It's hard to think that Pittsburgh's going to be worse offensively than they were last year, because it's hard to think that Aaron Rodgers is going to be worse than what they had at the quarterback position, but he may be exactly the same. And so if he's exactly the same and the Bengals don't stumble over their face early on in the season, then this is going to be a 7 to 8 win team. So, which Pittsburgh won a couple of games early, especially a game against the Bengals early on last season. That if the same thing would have happened again, they wouldn't do that. So I'll go Ravens, Bengals, Steelers, Browns, very similar to you. Browns, I just think the Browns are just going to be the worst team in the NFL and and position themselves for the number one pick in the draft.
We can talk about
Most imp-
that
most
later.
importantly, well, most importantly, I think, most importantly for the Browns this year is for them to figure out what their quarterback situation is, because 2026 looks to be a very, very interesting quarterback draft, and they look to have a number of picks available to make a selection if they need to. And chances are, with two rookie quarterbacks on their on their roster that made their 53, um, if they're bad enough, they're going to have an opportunity to see what those guys can do. So we'll see what happens from there. But yeah, Ravens, Bengals, Steelers, Browns for me.
Levon.
Real quick on the South. I don't see how the Colts can't move on from Anthony Richardson.
Always forward, never back. We don't got time to go through that.
I just want to mention that really quick. I don't see how they can move on from that kid after he couldn't beat out Daniel Jones.
Depending on how Daniel Jones plays, I think he'll be back. I think the coach is trying to make sure he doesn't get fired because they went all in on Richardson and it hasn't worked out. So it's more of that than it is his play. He's very inconsistent. So I think
he's extremely inconsistent, but that was known when they drafted him. And now it's not like this was his second season. He couldn't beat out, Daniel Jones for the starting job. I don't see any way back from that on that team for him. But the AFC North, it's hard to say not the Ravens. The Ravens are, a regular season juggernaut, and there'll be another regular season juggernaut again. It's hard to stop Lamar regular season, what he does, running and throwing the ball. Derrick Henry, same. The real test for that team comes when they make the playoffs, because they seem to wet the bed every single time when they go up against. Well, yeah, when they go up against teams they should beat, they can't seem to get it done when it matters. They make mistakes, and that's what Lamar has to fix. Maybe he fixed it. I don't know. Okay. To my earlier point, I don't see why you're not more optimistic about the Browns. They won every preseason game this year. They went undefeated, but all three of us have them in last place. I don't want to underestimate Mike Tomlin because he does not coach losing football teams. And I don't think Aaron Rodgers is cooked. I wish Anthony was here. But I don't think Rodgers is cooked. And I think he's going to show that he's not cooked. And he's going to throw that ball up to the guy they traded for, whose name is escaping me right now. Metcalf.
DK Metcalf.
Yeah,
Do you think Pittsburgh has better offensive weapons this year than for Aaron Rodgers than the Jets did last year?
I think Aaron Rodgers.
Just talking about the players around him, the skill position players. Because last year he had Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson and Braxton.
I think people overestimate. I like Garrett Wilson. I do like Garrett Wilson, but when I think of Garrett Wilson or Devontae Adams, like I said, he's almost ready to come out the oven himself. Almost ready to come out the oven himself. Aaron Rodgers might also, we'll know after this year, be ready to come out the oven. But Garrett Wilson to me is not a 1A receiver. He's kind of like Scary Terry to me. I wouldn't say Terry McLaurin is a 1A receiver. If you had to put together in a lab, you're a 1A type receiver. Scary Terry and Garrett Wilson are not the kind of guys I would say are 1A.
Focus on Pittsburgh.
You asked the question. Jesus. Pittsburgh coming in second. Bengals coming in third. And Cleveland bringing up the rear. Not much to say. Very, very uninteresting division. For your favorite division, it's very boring. It's not like
so. Okay.
That is the most boring, other than probably the AFC South. The NFC South. Other than the NFC South, I think the AFC North is the most boring, predictable division. Mike Tomlin, they'll win games. They won't have a losing record. They'll make the playoffs. Baltimore, but will win the division. Then Baltimore will go to some semi. If they play Buffalo, lose. Kansas City, lose. And Pittsburgh will probably lose because everybody's on there is too old. And the Bengals will miss the playoffs barely, and the Browns will be picking in the top 5 in the draft. The most boring, predictable division in the entire league.
I would say that's the AFC East.
What?
The AFC East is the most predictable because we know where everyone's going to fall, pretty much.
AFC East is a one team show, but at least it's got some compelling teams. Miami.
Do you think any of those teams that are not Buffalo make the playoffs?
I think Miami could. They have enough talent where they could do it. They've shown that in the past.
Could isn't making the playoffs.
And Anthony's not here, but I think the Jets have an extremely talented football team. Reason why they just can't seem to let it show in the wins and losses. Well, in the wins column, I don't know.
The Jets have the longest odds to make the playoffs at plus 2,000.
That's crazy. The Jets have they have a talented football team. I mean, the roster is not devoid of talent when you look at it. It's not.
Do you have faith in Justin Fields like I did?
No, I don't have faith in Justin Fields. I don't.
Okay.
I think they have talented people in their roster. I think Justin Fields can do what Daniel Jones did in 2022, which is, hand the ball off and, hit the open man when he's open and not make mistakes and then run for a couple of first downs. He can do that.
Okay.
And in that division, you can come in second,
So who's the second best quarterback in this division? Is it Tua or is it Drake May? Since you're already out on
I'm not picking the second year guy over
Tua.
or I'm not picking him over Tua. Tua at least has done something. Drake May literally hasn't done anything yet, but been given the starting job. He hasn't done anything.
Well, they're high on him, and they got him some real receivers in Stephon Diggs, and maybe getting some more if they're willing to invest. So we'll see.
Yeah,
I think the team will improve because they've drafted well, but the defense isn't going to be great.
You don't think the Jets have talent up and down that roster?
They do on defense. On offense, I don't know if it's all going to click, but I have the Jets not finishing last. I have New England last. I have Miami second and the Jets in third.
Yeah.
The Jets could jump Miami, but the most shocking thing to me would be if the New York Jets made the playoffs this year.
That's a different conversation. Then we'd have to look at the schedule and the league.
I don't know who their offensive coordinator is, but it would shock me if the Jets made the playoffs. I know that Justin Fields is taking this as a real opportunity, and I'm hoping he gets another one because he was putting it together with the Bears, but first overall pick, Caleb Williams, you had to take it, reset the clock.
That's true. Fields, you have to script an offense specifically for him to succeed in. You can't just tell him to go out there, pick defenses apart, read defense. You got to say, okay, this is the read, this is the read, this is the read. That's what you got to do. If you can do that with him, and those other guys can perform, then the Jets, they got a chance. I'm not trying to take crap on Justin Fields. I've seen him enough times.
Feels like you are, but that's all right.
I've seen the man enough times. And do you think he's that type of quarterback where he's like, just go out there and run things? I don't see that.
I do. And I think him playing behind Russell Wilson and being in Pittsburgh helped him with that.
All right, we'll see.
Next up, we're going to start with...
We didn't get Malik in the AFC
my bad.
East.
Malik, AFC East.
Well, Levon, did you actually give your
You said the Bills are going to win.
I did. I mean, me and Ace just pretty much ran it down. I don't disagree. Bills, Dolphins, Jets, and Patriots.
Okay. I'm gonna flip. I'm actually gonna put Dolphins last.
Oof.
I think they're the worst defense of the four. I really do believe that Mike Vrabel is gonna have the Patriots playing some good football on both sides of the ball, and they're going to commit to
the Vrabel way.
Commitment to, the Patriot way, right? That's the Vrabel way.
No, the Patriot way is Bill Belichick's way, which
they're going to
work last year.
But Mike Vrabel played for Bill Belichick and pretty much implemented the same thing in Tennessee. They're going to play bend don't break football. They're going to win with defense and try to give Drake May the opportunity to win games late and not make mistakes. And that's their philosophy. And I think that they'll be at least successful enough to get themselves out of the cellar in that division. I don't like what I saw. I don't like what I've seen from the Dolphins. They're from their offseason, from the way that they played, the way that they practiced in the preseason. Man, even like the whole situation with them and, being upset because who was it that they played? Well, when they practiced against the Lions, they were upset because the Lions were too physical with them in practice, and then they complained about the next team that they played the following week being too physical with. I can't remember. Was that you guys? Was it the Bears?
It was us.
Yeah, I think it was the Bears. They complained that the Bears were too aggressive.
It was the joint practices.
Is this not a football game?
They said guys were taking advantage in the joint practices.
Guys were hitting. So guys were hitting in
they were playing like it was the regular season, and Miami was like, "Come on, man, what are we doing here?" All starters were like, take it easy.
When your
We're not trying to get hurt.
Football team is complaining about people playing football against them.
I hear you.
Like,
It's not a
hey,
great
we're
look.
just practicing. It's just shadow boxing. We're not actually supposed to do anything. That says some stuff about you, especially for a team in the Dolphins who have been notoriously mocked as being, a quote unquote soft team that can't play in the cold
Yeah.
weather. Like that doesn't bode well. So I'm gonna go Bills, Jets, Patriots, Dolphins. I like the Jets. I think, to you guys' points, I think Tanner Engstrom is the offensive coordinator of the Jets. He came from the Lions. He was the passing game coordinator under Ben Johnson,
Okay.
and he's now the offensive coordinator of the Jets. I don't think that means much for the Jets. I think
How
where
many
where
years
where
was he
I
with Detroit?
two.
Okay. He
Um,
may have learned something.
No, I don't think it means much because I don't think they have the personnel to run
Oh,
the type
damn.
of offense I don't think the Jets have the personnel to run the type of offense that the Jets ran. I mean that the Lions ran when he was with us. So, but I do think, to Levon's point, that if you commit to the offense that Justin Fields runs, if you
Mhm.
commit like heavily, you got to actually really commit to that, meaning they're going to run 60% of the time. They're going to run some RPO stuff. They're going to run some gadget stuff. They're going to,
Mm-hmm.
hand the ball off to those running backs, Brees Hall and the big guy. I can't remember his name. Braylon Allen, I think his name is. Um, and take advantage of like double tight end sets and not try to push the ball down the field too often, but take opportunities when they present themselves. If you really truly commit to that and your defense plays well enough, you can win 7, 8 games with Justin Fields easily.
Mm-hmm.
That's not outside of the realm of possibility. So I absolutely can see them doing that, and I can see them upsetting a few teams along the way. The only thing I will say that it just gives me worry is obviously Aaron Glenn is a first time head coach, and late game situations we might see the team falter, especially if you force the ball into Justin Fields' hands late and he has to like push the ball down the field. If they can play within themselves
Yeah.
and continue just and not have to force themselves to like make big comebacks or anything along those lines, keep the game relatively close for themselves, I can see them winning 7, 8 games pretty easily. So I'll say Bills, Jets, Patriots, Dolphins.
Okay. I think if the Jets come in second, they could sneak into the playoffs. They could win 9 games. I think Aaron Rodgers is gonna break Mike Tomlin's streak of not having a losing season, and then go 8-9 this year. That's how cooked I think he is. And them losing Pickens doesn't help either.
You don't think Metcalf is as good as Pickens?
Who's the other receiver? Because now
I'm asking about Metcalf and Pickens.
Metcalf is a better all around receiver.
Okay.
Pickens is a better deep threat. If that is as crazy as that sounds.
You think Aaron Rodgers' days of making wide receivers better are done?
Yes,
Okay.
because he can't move around in the pocket anymore, and that's the biggest issue for him is his ability to like move.
Mm-hmm.
That's gone. He didn't do it well with the Jets. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it with the Steelers. Maybe he'll have a better offensive line. He'll have more time, but like it's less of his arm. He's going to be able to make all the throws. He's not going to take chances because he doesn't like to throw picks. He makes very safe throws, very predictable throws. So unless he's been working all offseason with DK and just willing to give over to this offense, the offense coordinator, I don't see him being able to have some instant connection and run a completely new offense and make it happen in his first year. It didn't happen well with the Jets, and I don't see it being.
He was hurt.
I don't see it. No, I mean the second year. I don't see it being much better now. And his ability to like move in the pocket it appeared to be gone. He improved at the end of the season, but like there was no pressure in those games, so maybe that's why they were playing better. And he had Devontae Adams as well, who I think is a better receiver than DK Metcalf is.
I think I know we want to move on, but I think that whole situation with the Jets wasn't good for Aaron Rodgers to be in. I think with Mike Tomlin as his head coach, yeah, I think it'll work out better than it did in Jersey, but we'll see.
Okay. I mean, that's why they play the games, right?
That's why they play them.
We are going to go to the NFC East. And Levon, I'd like to hear what you have to say.
The NFC East is pretty easy to predict. Philly's got the best roster, a proven head coach. Not much has changed as far as their impact players, and the impact players are all still in the prime of their career. So I think they'll repeat as division champs unless That's why they play the games, unless something happens and the wheels fall off or somebody surprises the heck out of us. I like Philly to win the division. The rest of it is really hard to call, to be honest, and to be truly honest. Before the trade, I would have probably said Dallas comes in second before the trade.
Dallas's odds to win the division are now up to plus 800, plus 700 in most sports books. Philadelphia's the favorite at minus 150, minus 160, depending on where you go.
Before the trade, I would have said Dallas is the favorite to come in second. Maybe the Cowboys could have challenged, because it hasn't been a repeat winning that division for so long. I do not believe in the Redskins. I think the Redskins were...
You mean the Commanders?
Oh, man, Jesus.
They're no longer, that other team's no longer in the league.
Every time. It's just such a better name.
It's really not.
Such a better name.
It's really not.
Team than the Commanders.
It's really not.
Commanders sounds like a junior varsity middle school team that scores like 2 points the entire game.
Well, the Commanders were in the NFC Championship.
We're like the Redskins.
The last time the Redskins made the NFC Championship?
A bunch of men running around being paid to play a sport. The Redskins.
Remember the last time that team made the NFC Championship? Because I can tell you what it was.
I know the Redskins have a Super Bowl under their name. The Commanders don't.
Not this century.
But I know they have one, though.
Had one.
I know they have. You don't lose those. They have Super Bowl
as in
under
past
their
tense.
Name.
But they're the Commanders.
I'm not even a fan of that team. Maybe I don't like Shades.
Just let Levon make the pick, damn it.
They gotta like Shades. And I don't like people trying to tell me, who or what I am based on labels and stuff and social constructs. But I'll call them the Commanders for the sake of the pod. The Commanders.
It's their name.
I don't believe. Huh? The Commanders.
So you got Philly winning. You have.
I would like to finish. I would finish if you would, not cut me off. I would get through it. You cut me off talking about it's not the Redskins anymore. I know this. Commanders product of a lot of serendipity last year. They really started Jaden out with a lot of RPO stuff, a lot of behind the line of scrimmage, screen passes, and he graduated as the season went on and started actually pushing the ball downfield. But that sophomore thing is real. And I'm not fully a believer that they got the type of roster that everybody thinks they do. And I think they take a step back. I think they take such a step back that they come in last. And I think because of the trade, the Dallas Cowboys come in third and my Giants come in second. Because with all the improvements the Giants made and with Dable coaching pretty much for his job and just overall talent on the teams, this division I follow the most. I think the Giants have the second most talented roster in the NFC East this year, especially with Mr. Micah Parsons taking his talents.
I know you're a homer, but damn.
North. No, I mean, I'll be proven right, and then you'll go back and renege and do what you normally do and say something crazy. But yeah, the Giants are coming in second. If we don't shock the world and come in first. And Philly, I don't know, implodes some kind of way. But yeah, that's my pick. Commanders last, Eagles first, Giants second, Cowboys third.
That's an interesting way of saying it. First, last, third, second.
I did like that on purpose.
Malik, go ahead.
Levon, I ain't gonna lie to you. I love the Commanders picking. I love picking the Commanders last year. I actually. That was one of the teams that I really believed would take a step back. I put them third. I put the Cowboys. I actually always had the Cowboys last. I just thought defensively they just left a lot to be desired in this whole situation with Micah. Even pre-trade just seemed like it was a recipe for disaster, and they were putting themselves in a bad spot for again a single injury on either side of the football for them to be almost a death knell for the team. I still think they need to blow it up a little bit to some degree. They've got a lot of money invested in a lot of guys who are in the mid levels. They're not really great, cornerstone guys for you. But I still had Dallas, being in fourth place in this division even before the trade. And now that Micah's gone, probably the best player on their defense, might be the best player across their entire team. Yeah, they're cooked for me. I have Washington third. Um, I think the trade of Brian Robinson Jr. that elevated Austin Eckler into the number one running back position just shows me how much faith Washington is putting into Jaden Daniels
Didn't
to
they draft a
really
running
like
back, or am I missing something?
they did. They drafted Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. I can't remember what round he was picked up in, but Austin Eckler is listed as number one on the depth chart now,
Okay.
and he was good last year in a part-time role with Brian Robinson Jr., but I don't see him taking a leap up as a number one primary back. I think that a lot of the running on this team is going to be taken up by Jaden Daniels. They're going to be doing a lot of RPOs, a lot of design runs for Jaden Daniels, which could potentially put him into harm's way to get himself, hit even more than he got hit last year. He's still slight of frame. That's never going to change. I do like them re-signing Terry McLaurin. I do like the Debo Samuel stuff, but I think, like I said, in all honesty, and I do love the Laramie Tunsil pickup that they made in the offseason to help his blind side. But I still think there's a lot on Jaden Daniels to be exactly or even better than he was a season ago, which it's hard for him to be better than he was a season ago. And I think he'll take a step back as a result of it. And on the defensive side, they are depending on guys who are, you know, long in the tooth, to say the
Mm-hmm.
least. Bobby
Mm-hmm.
Wagner, Von Miller, Marshawn Lattimore, guys who have been in this league for a very long time and are being asked to play premium primary roles for this squad. And so I think that they're still, they'll scheme up some things and they'll make some noise within games. And I think at the end of it all, I see them coming in third. I too see the Giants in second. Um, I think it's going to be very, very interesting. And Levon, you watching your team. I've been listening to New York sports radio, on occasion, and I've watched all the Giants games so far and listened to some of the commentaries about them as well. I do think it's going to be very, very interesting if and when Dable has to make a decision about the quarterback position there. Like um, we know who Jameis Winston is. If Jameis, we know who he is, so we don't need to even worry about it. If he has to get in the game, then the Giants have fallen off a cliff. But between Wilson and Dart, like the hope is that Wilson's able to be there the entire year and he's able to capture some of the magic that he had early on in the season with Pittsburgh, and maintain it. And I'm really interested in seeing what this Tyrone Tracy kid can do with a full workload, full opportunity as a number one guy on the roster, a number one guy in the backfield. The offensive line is revamped. The defense is, I think, going to be a top five unit overall. And the receivers, say what you will about, Malik Neighbors is an extremely good receiver,
Hmm.
and the rest of the guys are they're not household names, but they've been there for a long time, and we know what they're about. So I think the Giants are primed to have a good season. I don't know if it's going to be a playoff season, but I think 9 wins would not be a surprise for me, and they come in second place. And Philly, I think by default, I think Philly's going to take a step back. I don't think they'll be 13-4 that they were last year. I don't think 13 wins
Yeah.
gets it. I think they win the division with 11 wins. But yeah, I'm going to go Philly, Giants, Commanders, Cowboys.
All right. I'm going with the Commanders in second because I believe they have a better defensive line than everybody except for the Eagles. They have Javon Kinlaw at their defensive tackle, who they got over from, I believe he was with either Green Bay or a different team last year. They still have Daron Payne right in the middle, 28, superstar in that defensive line. And then they got Dietrich Wise, who was with the Patriots last year as their pass rusher. They run a 3-4 system. So the fact that they went out, they did get some older guys. They're relying on Von Miller. They're relying on Bobby Wagner. But people are forgetting Frankie Luvu, who was big for them last year in terms of, getting a lot of coverage, making some plays. And they did draft 2 new rookie linebackers that they're going to have to get some more experience. Their secondary is an issue. That's straight up. point blank. Marshawn Lattimore is going to have to improve. In terms of a safety, they got Mike Sanders still, who was on the Michigan championship team. So they're not bereft of talent in the defensive secondary. But I have faith in Austin Eckler. He was great for the Chargers. They didn't want to pay him. So he ended up with Washington, and Washington decided to pay him, and they traded Way Robinson. And I think it'll work out because Eckler's a much better pass catcher, and I think he'll make a difference. He's only 30. He's exactly 30. So I think this may be his last good year in the league. And as long as he can stay healthy, I'm a big fan of the dude. And Terry McLaurin, Debo can run the ball as well. Debo's only 29, even though he feels like he's been in the league for like a decade. And Luke McCaffrey is still very young, and he's going to be in the slot, and he's a bigger receiver. So I think it'll work out for them. So I got the Commies coming in second place behind the Eagles. I do have the Giants coming in third, and I have Dallas coming in last because I just think I don't know, without their best pass rusher, I don't see how they attack the football and get pressure on it. And they're not going to get a lot of turnovers, but their secondary should be better this year because they have guys coming back from injury. So Dallas won't be terrible, but it's more of a fact that Russell Wilson didn't look great last year, and I don't see him getting better. So it's more of the quarterback play for the Giants. Like, Russell Wilson is 37 years old, and it didn't look great last year, and it didn't look good in the playoffs. So I don't see how this improves. Oh, I'm sorry, he's 36. This is his 14th year in the league. Quarterback, and, he's not exactly a super tall guy, but I think he's there as a placeholder for Jackson Dart. Maybe he gets benched. Maybe they go with Dart. But if that happens, that means the Giants have lost a lot of games. Mm-hmm. Cam Scatterboo, I like him. Tracy, not against the receivers. I think Jalen Howard will get better. They got some good players for the wide receivers. Slayton probably needs to get cut at this point, but maybe. No, seriously, dude always disappoints every year. It's just who he is. I shouldn't say.
I'm gonna let that slide. We're gonna let that slide.
You like Darius Slayton?
I do like Darius Slayton.
When y'all made him your number one, you got a top 5 pick for a reason.
I mean, no, Darius Slayton's no slouch. You make it sound like he's a huge. Jalen Hyatt is the one who probably deserves that vitriol you just shot at.
Jalen Hyatt is in his third year, and he's a first-round pick, so he still has time to improve.
He's not a first-round pick. He's the third-round pick.
Oh, so then I don't understand why you so mad at him for a third.
Because Jalen Hyatt has underachieved his entire career with the Giants. He caught 8 passes last year. 8 passes.
That says a lot about who was throwing him the ball.
It might, but he's still. Well, Malik Neighbors caught 100 freaking passes last year.
I know. That's how we know Malik Neighbors is good. Some people are just get it right out the gate. Some people need time to adjust.
Slayton's not a superstar, but he's a solid number 2 in my opinion.
Right.
That's what he's supposed to be.
Maybe they'll retire his jersey in the Giants Hall of Fame.
Well, he changed his jersey. It was 86. Now he's 18.
So I'm trying to shake that off. That's good. I would too if I was him. Back to what I said. The Giants are probably going to finish third because they're not as good. They don't have as good a quarterback as the Commanders do. And the defensive line is as good as the Commanders, but it's their secondary that I'm concerned with. Their secondary is probably worse. Is probably the worst in the division.
It's very unproven. I don't disagree.
So we do not know.
Don't know.
So I'm going to start with Malik on the NFC North, and let's see if we get through this one quick. Trying to wrap this up.
Yeah, we'll get through this one pretty quick. I didn't have the. I'll tell you this. I didn't have the Packers second. Before this trade, I didn't have the Packers second. I don't want to put them second.
They're now favored to win the division, by the way.
I know.
In all the sports
books. I saw it.
Crazy.
That's crazy.
I saw the change happen, and I was like, that's
they went from 260 to plus 160.
Vegas? Yeah. That sounds crazy.
Yeah. It's very, very close between them and Detroit now.
Is it though? Is it actually?
No, in terms of the betting numbers, in terms of the odds, it's very close. I'm still going to pick the Lions to win the division.
Agreed.
I will still pick them to win the division. I do think that when I look at their schedule, there is not an easy game on that entire schedule, in my opinion. I mean, I think we played the Browns at one point. So but it's like sandwiched in between some really, really tough games. So I think because of that, they will take a step back from a record perspective.
Yeah.
But I think that but all of those teams still have to play the Lions, and I think the Lions will still have one of the best rosters in football. So I'm gonna still roll with the Lions to be number one in this division. I'll take the Packers two. I will take the Bears three, and I think three teams come out of this division in the playoffs.
Like last
And
year.
I'm gonna go the Vikings fourth. Not because I don't think that they're a good team, but because I think that there's gonna be some ups and downs and some growing pains for JJ McCarthy in that offense. And so I will go with Lions, Packers, Bears, Vikings.
I'm gonna go next. I still got Green Bay coming in third. I don't believe in their receivers. I think the Bears defense is going to be better. And I think most importantly, the Bears offense is going to be better because they have a much more demanding coach who actually has a direction for them and is holding them accountable. And Jalen Johnson was activated and is healthy. So I think they're going to be okay. So I got it. The Lions, Bears. The Bears really invested in the offensive line, which is something that Green Bay did not. Minnesota has a rookie quarterback, although Kevin O'Connell is an amazing coach. They're coming in last this year. I just don't think they can keep making it happen with a new quarterback 3 straight years. That would be pretty amazing. So it's Detroit, Bears, Green Bay behind us, and Vikings dead last. Chicago is the longest shot to win this at plus 600, plus 550 on some other books. But this is actually the closest division where everybody's positive outside of the NFC South. We're going to go next. Levon, what say you?
I'm a little. This is you guys' home division, so I'll defer to for the most part. But on the outside looking in, I'm a little shocked that there's no faith in a Viking team. Well, how many wins did they have last year?
14.
14 wins last year.
14 wins.
14 wins. I know they, overachieved, and it was evident when they got ousted right away. But 14 wins, and y'all got them coming in last behind the Chicago Bears because the Bears got a new rookie head coach. What else did the Bears do to just vault them over
Minnesota
a team
lost their starting quarterback
that won 14 games last year? I mean, I know Darnold did well, and it got him a contract, but I think it was a little bit to do with the fact he had all those targets to throw to. Who do you have? The tight end whose name is long, I can't think of.
Hockenson.
Hockenson.
TJ Hockenson.
Addison, I know, is suspended or out for the first couple of games, but they just traded for Thielen to come back. He's familiar. He's not altogether cooked. Ready to come out the oven, maybe, but not altogether cooked. They still got Justin Jefferson, best receiver in the league for the rookie to throw to, rookie quarterback or not. We've seen rookie quarterbacks have outstanding seasons, or at least good enough seasons to win, 8 to 10 games. I don't think that's a reason enough to say that the Vikings will just take an extreme fall off a cliff. I'm not picking them 1 or 2, but I'm definitely not picking them to be in the cellar. I got to pick the Bears to be in the cellar. I don't believe in Caleb Williams, not yet. It looked bad last year. Even though he threw for 3,500 yards, it looked bad. Coach got fired. It's a new coach. He's also unproven, the most unproven coach in that whole division, which is a very well-coached division from top to bottom. The Bears got to prove it. Minnesota, less so. Rookie quarterback. But, I mean, what does it say that they decided to go with that rookie quarterback? Not like the Colts. They decided to go with JJ and let Sam Darnold walk.
They just want to pay him $30 million, I guess.
But if he was good, you win 14 games. If it's Sam Darnold's not an old guy, if he was good enough, it's you go with him. And
sometimes it's just about finances, bro.
It's not. But moving on. I'm just saying. I think Minnesota comes in third, and it's very close. I think this division beats up on each other. It's very close. The Micah Parsons trade makes it close, but I think Detroit is still head and shoulders above, unless Ben Johnson had the keys to that offense and he took it with him to Chicago. And we'll know if that's the case. Or if Aaron Glenn had the keys to that defense and he took it with him to the Jets. So if they were the ones who were really running that team and Campbell was just the mouthpiece and an inspirational leader, then yeah, Detroit could find themselves in third place. So I think this is probably the most interesting division of football to see what's going to happen. I like the Packers, but they seem to underachieve, and I think that's because their quarterback. I think they got a great coach. They're one of the youngest teams in the league. They've had success already, and now they get probably one of the top 3 defensive players as far as impacting a football game on their defense. There's no excuses. They should be good, and if they're not, I mean, well, I guess we'll find out. But Jordan Love has got to put that thing together. And they got a pretty decent receiving core. They got young receivers. They're fast. They got Jacobs running the football. They got a solid all-around team. They kind of remind me of they kind of mirror the Texans somewhat. Look at those two teams kind of similar when I think about it. But give me Detroit, Green Bay, Minnesota, Chicago. Where did it? Oh, was I muted? Ace is
No,
muted.
you're on. You're on. You're on. You're on.
Oh.
Look, I'm not. I'm definitely that Bears Vikings flip. Definitely. I'm not. I don't feel 100%. Confident about it just because
I just
the
don't.
Vikings are.
I know that's Ace's team. I try not to be
No,
biased myself when it comes to my Giants. Like when he said the thing about the secondary, is very true. I know who's on the secondary, but no one else does. Those guys have to prove what they can do. They're basically a bunch of no names and just potential now. The secondary is a big question mark. But I'm looking at the Bears, and I don't know who's on that team outside of Aduze, Caleb. I know they drafted that rookie tight end. They got Cole Kmet. I remember they had offensive line problems. I can't think of anybody on that defense.
well, the Bears. The one thing about the Bears is they brought in a lot of new players. They brought in a ton of new players. They brought in a ton of new talent, and the new head coach and new coordinators on both sides. Like it's interesting that there's this and I'm not blaming you. I'm not talking about you here, Levon, but it's interesting how there's this whole conversation about Dan Campbell and the Lions and ingratiating these new coordinators into the situation. But on the other side, there's no conversation about the fact that the Bears are now ingratiating a brand new head coach who is the offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator as well,
Yeah.
in addition to all of the new players that they've added. I think the Bears can I think you're right. I think ultimately it all comes down to Caleb and the offense and what they're able to do and how
Yeah.
fast they're able to ramp up and how fast they're able to get on the same page. And it could be a very good year or it could be a really, really bad year
Yeah.
if just things go off the rail. I just think their defense has been good enough. And they've had good enough. They've added enough pieces to keep things close on that side of the ball, so that maybe if the offense turns it on in like week 8, they can go on a bit of a run at the end of the season to get themselves into playoff contention. But I do agree. I think the Vikings, I think without Sam Darnold last year, they were, if JJ McCarthy plays the whole season last year and Sam Darnold doesn't, I think that's a 10-11 win team.
Yeah, possible.
Um, and so I do think Sam Darnold got them, a couple of wins and played a little bit above board. And I think they did overachieve a little bit. But I think that's where I see it. So it's like I could see them getting 10 and then Chicago getting like 8 and definitely and so flipping that would not be surprised at all. I pick Chicago just because I feel like they'll figure it out mid-season and maybe they'll take a game or two later on that Minnesota will drop.
I mean, you really want to try to predict because right now, going off of recent memory, what I've heard on the surface, I have to look at the schedule, really look at the rosters, try to ascertain exactly, what's going on to truly predict because you just never know. Like JJ's throwing the ball to JJ, and that's going to make life for a rookie very, very simple. 18 is very good. Find him. And then if you can't find him, find Addison. If you can't find Addison, find Hawkinson. It's not going to be very difficult. He's not out there throwing the ball to a bunch of schlubs. So, it's just like they helped Sam Darnold. What's this?
Yep. Yeah. No, agreed.
Yeah, it's not like it's like
Um,
they helped Sam Darnold and made him, a ton of money. JJ will have his warts, his faults, but I think McConnell is an extremely underrated coach, and he's proven that because he's done a lot with not a ton in Minnesota, and I mean, not a super ton. And then on the defensive side, I can't think of the coach's name. He's suing my
Flores.
Giants. Flores. I mean,
Flores.
he
Yeah.
had those boys playing above and beyond last year, so they're
Yeah.
very well coached on the sides they need to be coached on. The only real wart that I can see that'll stop them from at least getting 9 to 10 wins would be if the rookie lays an egg. You know,
Yeah.
if
I
they
think a
thought,
lot of that
yeah,
is on him. I
yeah,
think
if they thought he
a
would
lot
lay
of
an
that is
egg,
on him.
they would have. I mean, if they thought he was going to lay an egg, they would have paid Sam. They would have found a way to pay him and keep him there rather than take a chance on a kid they thought Patrick Mahomes sat for an entire year. I think he played the last game. I know everybody uses the Patrick Mahomes
Yeah,
example.
he played the last
He played the
game.
last game. Yeah.
And I mean the difference there being that McCarthy was injured, so he couldn't even practice. It's not even like
Mm-hmm.
he could, Mahomes was sitting there. He was able to practice. He was able to practice with the first team with the team
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
and and sit behind the. Whereas this kid was just rehabbing for most of the year. So,
Yeah.
um,
Interesting division though. I've
yeah,
always liked Green Bay. I said it last year. It's just something about that team, how young it is and how good they got so quickly with all of those guys pretty much on their rookie contracts, especially like the receivers. Everybody except Jacobs, who they had to trade for and bring in. But the core of their offense was like homegrown and performing extremely well early.
yeah,
So I don't defensively, I know their defensive line isn't very good. And now you take away Clark, but you add Parsons. Parsons isn't much of a stout run stuffer. He's more of a create havoc chess piece. You move them all around and stuff. So we'll see.
yeah,
But
yeah.
Detroit is, I think that's wacky that Vegas would forget about what Detroit did last year and how you guys, I mean, you almost got to the Super Bowl
I
twice.
mean, it's not surprising. I mean, you brought up a lot of the same concerns or comments about what people have basically been saying about the Lions, and I think I think to some degree, man, it's out with the old and with the new, right? The Lions
Yeah.
have been kind of the best team in this division for the past couple of seasons. They're no longer the interesting, fun story. The story now is Caleb and the Bears, and now, of course, the Packers, the young Packers with Micah.
Michael
So the
Parsons.
expectation is that, yeah, the expectation is that like the narrative becomes, who's next, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was a time when the Lions were the who's next, right? Now the Lions are the ones that sit up there
Yeah, up
and
there. So who's now? Yeah, everyone wants to figure out
yeah,
what's the team that didn't make it that's gonna. Who's the Denver Broncos of this year? Who's Bo Nix? Who's the Bo Nix?
exactly.
I don't think there's a lot of starting rookie quarterbacks other than Cam Ward. I know Jackson's not going to start. I don't think Shook is. Did Shook win the job in
No,
New
Shook
Orleans?
and Rattlers won the job in New
Oof,
Orleans, but
Rattler
we're gonna
won
get to
the job.
that. We're gonna get to that division
Oof.
real soon.
Oh my God.
Um, Ace is off for the remainder of the show, so I'm gonna host us.
Oh wow.
Let's jump to the NFC South. Yeah, he had to drop, so let's jump over to the NFC South. I will start with this one. I hate to say this, and please, family, friends, loved ones in New Orleans, you'll hear me. If you hear this, please know that number one, you have my condolences, and number two, this does not this does not come lightly because I know how much you guys love your Saints and how much you care about that team down there in New Orleans. But I think they're going to be bad. I think they're going to be really bad for a while. Their cap situation has finally caught up to them. Derek Carr is no longer there, and Spencer Rattler is your starting quarterback, and he
Mm,
won the job. It's not even like this is a by default type of situation. He actually won the job, which tells you what you need to know about Tyler Shuck. This was a perfect situation for Tyler Shuck to be the starter, honestly, and he
mm,
didn't win the job from Spencer Rattler. So, say what you will about that. Um, the defense is going through at both sides of the ball. Defense and offense are going through a huge upheaval and a change. And the guys that make the most money, i.e., Cam Jordan on the defense and Alvin Kamara on the offense, they're not enough. They're a little older now. They're not enough to take this team anywhere. So I believe that the Saints are going to be the worst team in this division, and it won't be close. They'll be fighting with They'll be fighting with Cleveland to figure out whether or not to try to convince Arch Manning to come out of college so that they can draft him number 1 overall next season. Um, Net number 3, I have the Carolina Panthers. I don't think much of this team yet. Bryce Young had a pretty good, end of season run. But I want to see him and the rest of the team pull it all together before I'm willing to give them any kind of praise or consider them to be a team that's on the rise. So I kind of put them there by default. I really like what I'm seeing from Michael Penix and the Falcons and what they could potentially do. I have them in the playoffs,
Hmm.
but I have them coming in second behind the ultimate division winner here. Tampa Bay is the cream of the crop in this division and should still win the division outright. Baker Mayfield has proven that he is a top top 10 level quarterback in the NFL. The defense is still very good. And with the offense, although the offense is still the same guys it's always been, it's Mike Evans, it's Godwin, and those boys, they're consistent and they get it done. So I don't think there's much from the Bucks in terms of being a Super Bowl contender, but I think they are good enough to win this division in a division that's still relatively, they're still trying to figure itself out. So I got Tampa, Atlanta, both making the playoffs, and then rounded out by Carolina and New Orleans. How do you see it, Vaughn?
Um, Not much different. I mean, not different at all than what you just said. I think the Bucks win the division because, like you said, they've been there before, and that's why I say it because Baker finally lived up to his draft status last year, played very well. If that continues, you throw in the ball to a future Hall of Famer in Evans. You got Godwin, well coached with Bowles over there. They play solid defense, and their competition is nil. The Saints don't have enough. You covered all of that. I don't need to reiterate it. And the Panthers also don't have enough. The Saints are further behind than the Panthers are. The Panthers are on their way. Bryce Young might be a piece, but they're still a ways away from competing. The real question is the Falcons. The Falcons have the talent to be as good and challenge Tampa Bay, if not better, because they have what should be ascending players. Kyle Pitts, London. Penix's second year didn't play really much in his first year, not games that really mattered. These will be the first games that he played that really matter this year. The Falcons are an ascending team. Johnson is it Bijan Johnson?
Bijan, yeah, Bijan
Yeah,
Robinson.
they got Bijan Robinson. They got an ascending team with players, high draft picks that should carry them to the division title. But the problem is they haven't done it. None of those guys that I've named have done any of that yet. So you can't count on them and say, yeah, they're going to turn the page. Now, if they did, no one would be surprised. If Penix came out and looked like Jaden Daniels or Bo Nix and had a good year and threw for over 4,000 yards to the likes of London and Robinson and Pitts, no one would be shocked. Everybody would be like, okay, here we go. But they got to do it. They've got to
Yep.
do it first. And yeah, Falcons, no. Tampa, Falcons, Panthers, Saints, but I don't think the Falcons make the playoffs coming in second. I don't think they do that. I think the only playoff team out of that division is a division winner. I will say real quick, I think that's interesting. I think if the Saints suck and they win 3 games this year, that's where Granddad played and where it all began. Do you think the Mannings let Archie come out, even though they've said very much that he's definitely not going to come out this year? He's going to at least play one more year at Texas after this. But do you think if it's New Orleans picking number 1, that changes?
I think there's a definite conversation. I think there's a definite conversation. The Mannings are still heavily, heavily connected to
In New Orleans, yeah,
this.
I would think
They're
so.
heavily connected in New Orleans. They're heavily connected to the organization, to the city. The tie in there is deep.
It would be
And
a great story.
yeah,
It would be
I
a
think
great
to me,
story.
I think honestly, right now, like I would if I think sorry, Arch, not Arch. I think Archie is hedging, right? Hedging against the Browns being
Oh,
being there because no one wants it, hedging against that being the number
so
one pick.
Cleveland.
And so he's making it relatively clear that there's no intentions for Arch to leave. But I think if the Saints are sitting there at number one, then at the very least, there's a real conversation there
Yeah.
about doing it, about him coming out. Because, you know, I think Kellen Moore is a pretty good coach. He's a pretty
Mm.
good offensive coach, pretty good quarterback coach. And you see what he's done in his career so far as a coach. I think the infrastructure there is set up in a way where, I mean, unfortunately, he might get beat up a bit because the offensive line needs to grow. But the situation there is set up where they will build that entire thing around him.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, and he will instantly be like the
Mm.
prince that was promised in this
Instantly.
in that yeah, exactly, instantly.
Yeah.
So um
The
yeah,
pressure would be
they'll do whatever
immense.
necessary.
The pressure would be immense. I mean, the storylines alone, if he decides he's coming out and New Orleans picks him, the storylines alone, that's all anyone would talk about until the very first football game that he plays with that jersey. And then if he's good, I mean,
Yeah.
New Orleans would be set for as long as his career is. You could fix an offensive line more or less in an off season. Draft
Yeah.
picks, free agency, so they could do their best to prop something up in front of him so he doesn't get killed. Kamara at least has one more, if not two more seasons to flash out of the backfield and give him a decent target to throw the ball to. And then you just start slowly building around him, but the juice would return to that
Oh,
team instantly.
absolutely.
Instantly.
I kind of disagree. I kind of disagree with the pressure thing. I don't think there's any pressure on him. If he comes there, if he comes, I think you're right. The narrative, the story will be he's, the Messiah, right?
Mm.
But no, he's not going to come in with any expect. If this team is as bad as this year as people think that they have the potential to be, us included, no one's going to come in and expect him to immediately be, like what Andrew Luck did, for
Mm.
the Colts, right? Because it's not like when Andrew Luck joined the Colts, it was a good team that didn't have their quarterback for a whole year. Peyton Manning was the quarterback, but the team itself appeared to be a pretty good team. Everybody knows that the Saints team is a bad team right now,
Mm.
and it's going to take some time to build it. So I think you're right. The story and the narrative will be about, this him coming home, and it'll be great and the vibes will be there. So long as he doesn't completely fall on his face, I think that he'll get at least a year, possibly even a year and a half of people still just kind of being on that high of him being there
Yeah.
before expectation starts to set in and people start going, hey, by year three, these
Mm-hmm.
guys, your contemporaries started to figure it out. I think the pressure does come in though when you compare him to the other quarterbacks that are supposed to be coming out in the same class. This is supposed to be a really, really deep class. And if he comes out and plays poorly, similar to Bryce Young, right? When Bryce Young came out, he didn't play well, and CJ Stroud lit it up. And then
Mm-hmm.
everybody was like, all right, well, now we don't even have to care about Bryce Young anymore because CJ Stroud is that dude. Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, almost the same thing, right?
Yeah.
You can't do that. You got to come out, you got to be good, and you got to show the reason why they got you. And then maybe you're given the benefit of the doubt. But we'll see. All right, last but not least, NFC West. I'm gonna let you go first, even though I know you said you don't care about the other divisions, but I'm gonna let you go first and predict the NFC West.
No, it's not that I don't care. It's just I don't follow as intently as I do, of course, the teams in my division. I mean, it's
Of
it's
course.
you know, it's the West Coast. Um, well, it's hard for me to Shanahan, man. It's one of my favorite coaches in all of football, and I just can't foresee. And I know last year was the year it didn't happen, but that was an off year for them, and it's the Niners. I just really believe that the Niners, they come back this year and they come back strong. And Brock got his bread, and it's an extremely well coached team. And I have a hard time believing that they're going to have two bad years in a row. I just don't. I know they lost a lot of pieces, um, and a lot of what their identity was that I'm used to seeing is no longer there. Like Debo. Debo's gone, but I just think they're extremely well coached. It's hard for me to envision. I mean, if it was anybody else, I'd say maybe Seattle with the
Mm-hmm.
addition of God. I was about to say Drake May. What's this guy's name?
Oh, Darnold.
There we go. With Darnold and that defensive minded coach they got out there, they got that running game, they got the 12 man. Um, that's a hard division for me to call, man. That's a hard one for me to call. But
Do you believe in any of this hype, or have you heard any of the hype around Arizona and them potentially being a sneaky playoff type team? Because
no,
we
I
hear it
don't.
every year with them, right?
I do not. Arizona, I pick
Yeah.
last. I pick
Okay.
Arizona last. Rams again are a very well coached team. They've got a lot of talent. They draft well, and they got Stafford. I'm not a believer in Kyler Murray. I do not. He falls under the Landry Fields, Jesus, Justin
Justin Fields.
Fields. He falls under that category for me when it comes to quarterbacks. You got to script the offense for them and let them say, hey, this is where you go. I don't know much about football. I just know when I look at it and I see quarterbacks, I know quarterbacks who can get into a game and they are running the offense when they're in the game. They're running the offense, pretty much dissecting defenses, reading defenses. And then you got other quarterbacks who go in the game, they get the call, and they have their checks and they follow their checks, and that's what they do. There's no innovation involved. And when I think about Kyler Murray, Justin Fields, that's what I think of. It's like if read one is not there, if two's not there, then what is he going to do? Is he going to slide his protection? Kind of like with Richardson and how he got smacked in that preseason game because he just could not get his protection set. And that guy came absolutely free and cleaned his clock and he got injured.
Mm-hmm.
It's stuff like that. It's like, which quarterbacks can read defenses, get the line set, slide to protections, motion receivers, post snap, pre snap type stuff, you know? And I just don't get that from Kyler. I don't get that from him. I've watched some of his games, I've watched what he does, and I think he's an exceptional athlete, just like Justin is. Um, but he doesn't convince me. Not like Jaden convinced me last year that he's capable, or like Jordan Love is capable, Stroud's capable, hopefully JJ and Lawrence. Lawrence has shown that ability. Herbert. I mean, we already know those guys. The Joshes, that's obvious.
Mm-hmm.
But Kyler's been in the league for a while now, and I've just never seen him ascend or make those steps in that way. So no, I'm not convinced. I think Arizona's last. I think the Niners have first, and I think the Rams second. I think the Rams are second, and I think the Seahawks come in third.
Okay. I don't necessarily disagree with that. I worry a lot about Stafford's health.
Health, yeah,
Um, you know, when he's good and he's healthy, I think he's probably the best quarterback in this division.
mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm. Oh yeah, by
but if
far.
he's not, so much of that offense, so much of what they do is based off of his ability to do some great things with the football, throwing the football down the field and finding guys like Puka Nakua. We know
Mm-hmm.
they got Devontae Adams now um, over there as well. So I think if he's right, they'll be fine and they'll challenge for the division. And if he's not, then they're going to have a really big, really tough time with Jimmy Garoppolo as the backup because so
Yeah,
much is based off of what Stafford is capable of doing for this offense. So I kind of see it very similar to you. I like the Seahawks. I like what I think was what I saw the Seahawks doing at the end of last season. I'm really interested in seeing what Sam Darnold can
yeah,
do, now that he's
yeah.
gotten his money, number
Mm-hmm.
one, and number two, he doesn't have Kevin O'Connell, doesn't have Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Hawkins, like, all of those weapons. And now, he does have Jackson Smith and Jigba, but that's not much else other than that,
Mm-mm.
in terms of, like, weapons on the outside for them. So
Lockett is gone,
um,
right?
Lockett is gone,
Yeah.
and of course DK is
DK
gone.
is gone.
So they're bringing in brand new talents.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't tell you all of them, honestly speaking, in terms of who the receivers are. And I know Walker is back as the running back, but he's always seemed to be banged up for one reason or another. So it's going to be tough to see, them maybe have any explosive opportunities coming out of there. They did get Cooper Cup, and Cooper Cup he has signed there
Mm-hmm.
as well. So, but again, health. He's ever since the Super Bowl season, basically, and he got his money. He hasn't been healthy, So I think they're a talented team. They have a pretty good defense and they have pretty good players, but we'll just have to see if they're able to put it together in a way that makes them, good enough to, like, really challenge in the division. I'm going to go Rams 49ers in terms
Mm-hmm.
of 1-2. I'm going to bank on Stafford being healthy enough to hold it down. And I think the 49ers have enough to make the playoffs as well. So if I don't have the Falcons, I know I put the Falcons and the Bucks in the playoffs coming out of the South. I think that's the swing for me.
Mm.
Either the if either the Falcons or the 49ers will be that second wild card team coming out of the West. I think the 49ers are dangerous as hell. But their receivers as well, they we don't really know much about them, you know. Between what Brandon Ayuk coming back from his injury, and then we have Juwan Jennings, which I believe still hasn't gotten his contract, but now he's also injured. Ricky
Mm.
Pearsall, he had his situation with the gunshot last year, and so he only played like 4 games. So, they believe he's going to be really good, but we'll see. But to your point, Shanahan's just too good of a damn coach for me to think that he can't figure it out. And I think them getting Brian Robinson and being able to sustain a two-back situation and keep Christian McCaffrey healthy is going to, like, work wonders for this team, work wonders for this organization. And I think Brock Purdy is an underrated quarterback. So I'll
Very
take
much
the
so.
49ers to be second in the division. I'll take the Rams first, 49ers second, followed by the Seahawks and Cardinals.
All
Because
right.
I don't believe in
Nah.
Kyler either. Um, all right. So we're gonna roll off because I think we've been off for a little over an hour now. We're gonna roll off real quick, but before we do, I want your immediate thoughts on the Parsons trade. I know we talked about it a little bit. Your immediate thoughts on the Parsons trade, what the whole situation, from the beginning with them not wanting to sign him and everything, and your immediate thought when you saw the Parsons trade go down, and what you think it does for the Cowboys long term, for your Giants long term, and for the Packers as well.
Um, we've seen. I mean, Luka Doncic got traded this year. Is it on that level? That's a good question. Is this the NFL's version of Luka getting traded, or would that be something more along the lines of Josh Allen? No, Luka didn't win MVP yet.
Nah.
I don't know. That's a good question.
I think that would have to be a quarterback. Don't you think? Like,
You
it would
think
have to
so? I
be.
mean, Luka never won MVP. Is Luka like on quarterback level? I mean, okay.
I just because of how valuable your star player is
Mhm.
on a
Well,
basketball team,
do you
one of
think
12,
Micah is the best player on the Cowboys? If you had to say best players on the Cowboys before you got traded,
Yes. Yeah,
exactly.
I think Micah Parsons was the best player on the Cowboys,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think you could say that because Luca because
Yeah.
Luca didn't impact defense at all,
Yeah.
right? So to say
Micah
Micah only
Parsons.
impacts one part of the field,
I,
but so did Luca. He
I
only
think
impacted
Michael.
one side of the court. So
I think Micah Parsons is the best player on every NFL team except Buffalo, Cincinnati, Kansas City, Baltimore. Mm. And I say that because those are all teams with those quarterbacks who we all
Philly.
believe
You
affect the
think he's the
game in
best?
such a way that they could win the game for you by themselves, right? If it's not one of those four guys, I think Michael Parsons arguably
You think he's the
is the
best player on Philly?
yeah. I'd take Micah over Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is a system quarterback to the extent that if he didn't have all of that around him, he wouldn't be much better than like the CJ Strouds of the world. I mean, he'd be good, but he wouldn't be, I mean, as all world as we all see him now, in
Oh,
my
but
opinion.
I wouldn't even say Hurts is the best player on.
Oh
Would you
no,
say
no, no.
Hurts is the best player on
No.
Philly? I don't even
So
think he's the best player on Philly.
Saquon's the best player on
Yeah,
that team. They don't win without that addition. That
right. So
is
so do you think
yeah.
Micah is better than Saquon?
Oh yeah,
Is
yeah.
what I was saying.
Michael Parsons. Oh come on, Malik. Saquon's still a running back. Michael Parsons for the
No, I'm not.
position
I'm not. Wait, but I'm not a position agnostic. I'm just saying, is he the best player? Like you said, the best
best player.
player, not the most valuable player on the
Without doing
team.
position diagnostics, without doing that whole thing. That's 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 tough. That's
Yeah, I
tough.
agree. I think that's very tough.
That's tough. That's
I think that's
close.
very tough.
That's close. Let me ask you a question. What does it do? Basically, you traded one of the best players in his prime in the National Football League because I don't know. Could you not afford to pay him? I don't know Jerry's reason. I haven't watched any ESPN yet or read anything about it. I know on the podcast I listened to for my team, he mentioned it, but he didn't mention any details. Like, why did this happen? Did Jerry just not like the kid? Was it Micah's extracurriculars? Was it his podcast? Was it his back? Is his back really hurt? I don't know. I just know that without knowing any of that, you have to find a way to get that man his money. You do not find players like that every year. You find a generational, and I say generational because right now, let's see if he continues, but right now he has a generational type talent for what he brings to a football team. You traded him for draft picks. You can only hope that those draft picks turn out to be half of the impact player that he has been for the Cowboys in the years he's been there. How many years that's been? What has it been? 4 or 5? How many years has it been?
He's going into year 4 right now.
Going to year 4. In the 4 years he's been here, arguably he is one of the most dominant defensive forces in the league. The only other players who could make that claim are Garrett, and I struggle to think anybody else. I said all that to say, and I said this kind of in our group chat today. As a GM, if you want to claim to be a GM, you have to make a plan. You have to say, this is coming down the road. I need to make and put something aside so this gets done. If you made a conscious effort to pay Dak Prescott, knowing that you weren't going to have enough money for Michael Parsons, he needs to give that job to somebody else. It is no way you pay Dak Prescott. Even CD Lamb. CD Lamb, no. I don't pay CD. If I'm like, it's either CD, Dak, or Micah, Dak and CD got to find somewhere to go. You can replace Dak. You can even find receivers to catch the ball. You cannot find defensive players that can't be blocked, that could line up on the left or the right side or over the guard and rush the passer like that man can do, a la Lawrence Taylor. They don't make Lawrence Taylor. He's not even Lawrence Taylor, but they don't make LTs anymore, man. They don't make them like that anymore. And he just traded that away. I don't know what they're saying down in Dallas, but if let's put it this way, if I know I'm going long, I'm going long. If Abdul Carter turns out to be anywhere near that, and the Giants don't find a way to keep him, pissed is not the word. I was upset when the Giants didn't keep Odell Beckham and traded Odell Beckham. And you can find wide receivers. You can find them. Odell Beckham, went on to do what he did. You can find them. We got Malik Neighbors now. But guys like Michael Parsons, it's like a quarterback. Defensive players, edge rushers who are that impactful. Look what Cleveland did to keep Myles Garrett after he said he wanted out of there. Okay, I've gone too long. Can you go? What do you think?
I mean, I think you made a great point. That last point that you made about the Myles Garrett situation is like Cleveland had, to me, less of a reason to sign Myles Garrett than the Cowboys had to sign Micah Parsons. Like if Cleveland let Myles Garrett walk, as dumb as it probably would have appeared at the time, you know that Cleveland was like that's Cleveland effectively saying, you know what, we're tanking it all. We're
Mhm.
just going to get draft capital and we're just going to try to rebuild the whole damn thing because our quarterback is never coming back, and the team is trash, and we're going to use the very last asset that we have and try to just blow it up and rebuild it, right? Um, the Dallas Cowboys, like, not only is Micah Parsons the best player on your team, not only is he a top five defensive player in the entire NFL, regardless of position, he's also your most popular player. He's also your most marketable player because as much as people like Dak is not, Dak is kind of bland, kind of boring. And Micah Parsons is probably like he is the face. He has been the face of this organization literally since the day he walked in. And as much as he, as vocal as he is and as active as he is, in terms as a personality, it has not once impacted his ability to produce on the field. So by giving all of that up and giving it up, I would say for 50 cents on the dollar on top of that, it just strikes me as hubris, as pride, as something that's not about winning football games. It can't be about winning football games because Micah Parsons was going to help you win football games.
Mhm.
If you just signed him to that deal, he's going to help you win football games. And he's going to help you win football games for the foreseeable future. Because even if you can build around a Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is the quarterback of the defense. So therefore,
Mhm.
you can just have him, and everything else you can mix and match the pieces. You know, but I think it started with, and I started having conversations with Cowboy fans, friends of mine,
Oh
and I
yeah,
was
your
just
neighbor.
explaining to them like,
Mhm.
yeah, and I had to explain to them, I wasn't surprised that Dallas, I was, because I said in my mind, Levon, like I couldn't fathom paying Dak Prescott $60 million, paying CeeDee Lamb damn near 40. Um, Micah making 40. Like it was 135, $140 million for three players. And you just traded for George Pickens, who was going to be a free agent. Like you gave up like a second or a third round pick to get George Pickens in here, who's going to be a free agent next year. You're gonna
Yeah.
have to pay him too. So I was just like, from a financial perspective, this just seemed like idiotic that they had to do something and figure it out.
Mm.
But then you trade him, and then you trade him, you keep him in the conference, and you get two first round picks. Neither one of those first round picks is going to be a
No,
bad pick,
no.
right? That's not like that's going to be the sixth pick in the draft or anything like
Mm-mm.
that. These are going to be in the high 20s easily. Could be 32 if they won the damn Super Bowl with him,
Understand?
you know?
I don't know.
So
I
you
don't
give
know.
up those two picks and Kenny Clark, and I like Kenny Clark. Kenny Clark is a good player. He is a solid defensive player. He has made lives hell for people against the Packers for years. He ain't Micah Parsons. He ain't even close,
Nah.
and he's older.
Yeah.
So
I think he's
it
29.
just yeah, it's just like, in what world did that make sense? Both from and then the worst part is, man. I don't know if you got to see it. I saw a little bit of it. The Joneses, Jerry and Steven, got up on the podium, and Steven talked about, how much Kenny Clark was a huge part of this of
Oh
this
my God.
of this decision to do it, because you need to stop. And Jerry Jones was talking about how you need to stop the run in order to win in this league, and we couldn't stop the run no matter how much we tried. We couldn't stop the run, so that's why we made this deal, and we
That's
believed.
insulting.
And Jerry said something to the effect of they believe in their depth at pass rusher,
Hmm.
and they believe so much in their depth at pass rusher that, the loss of Micah Parsons wasn't going to, hurt them as much, or something along those lines. They believe that they could absorb the
Absorb.
loss
Crazy.
of Micah Parsons.
Holy
Um,
smokes.
so it's like things like that, right? It's like when you hear stuff like that, and you say to yourself, like, I do y'all, oh yeah, I'm trying, y'all trying to like, y'all don't, y'all like insulting my intelligence.
Yeah,
Like,
they
you're
are.
insulting my intelligence,
That is
like,
insulting
it's
to
very
Cowboys
insulting.
fans. I don't like the
Cowboys fans out
Cowboys
there.
or their fans. I don't know their fans, but they're Cowboys fans. But if that was John Mara and Dable and Shane, I had to cut the TV off. I was like,
Yeah.
you are insulting my intelligence. Kenny Clark, stop the run. Of course you want to stop the run. But what's more, it's a passing league, and trying to affect the quarterback is priority one, always. I mean, you want to stop the run. You do to make them pass. But once they start to pass, if he's back there for a 5 count, a 5 Mississippi, stopping the run don't matter. You
Yep.
gave away a key ingredient to winning in this league. You had that guy who could disrupt the quarterback. Every team that wins has somebody who can do that. The Chiefs have it up the middle, and sometimes he rolls out to the side too. I'm talking about Jones, right?
Right.
Before the Chiefs, who won? I'm trying to figure out. Oh God, the Eagles
The
had a
Eagles
ton of
with
guys who could win.
Carter.
That guy who
Carter
just
and Bond and like, yeah.
the kid who just got a bag because he showed out in the Super Bowl. Can't think of his name right now. You know what I'm talking
Zach
about. He had
Bond.
2 sacks in the Super Bowl, the edge rusher that they don't have anymore.
The one that left?
Yeah. I want to say Sweat.
Sweat?
His name was Sweat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, look at what that's the name of the game. You know,
Yeah.
you get to the show and you go up against a Patrick Mahomes, you better have somebody who can make his life hell. And if you don't, he's gonna hurt you. He's going to eat you alive. And you had that ingredient, and instead of keeping it and finding a way to keep it, you botched it. And now he's off to another team that you are probably gonna have to see if you want to try to get. You made a good point. He's in the conference. He's in a conference against a
You
team
play
he's
him
supposed to
this
be
year.
competing against. Isn't
You play him this
yeah,
season.
you play. I mean, I don't know what they're doing, man. It's crazy. I'm gonna cut on ESPN and I'm gonna watch the talking heads go crazy, and it's gonna be a bunch of opinions flying left and right. It'll be a couple I agree with, but the majority of them are gonna say that the Cowboys and Jerry dropped the ball on this, and he needs to step. He's done. He's cooked.
Oh, so Ace, you're back.
I'm
So
back.
now before we roll off, let me give you an opportunity. Levon and I already did the NFC West and the NFC South. So I want you to close it out, and then we'll roll off before we get out of here. Get ready for next week.
All right. I got the Atlanta Falcons winning the NFC South. That's my upset pick. I got Tampa coming in second, Carolina in third, and New Orleans Saints are going to be the worst team in the NFL with $90+ million in dead cap money. And Spencer Rattler is their starting quarterback. Unless that kid can really surprise me. I like them at South Carolina, although that's my SEC team that I cheer for, the Gamecocks. But yeah, I don't see him being great in the NFL. And I kind of feel bad I shouldn't say feel bad. I feel like they're wasting that running back's time. Kamara. This is probably one of the last few like real years in his career. He's going to have some pop left in them legs. He's getting up there. He's been in the league for about 8-9 years now, and he's dealt with some injuries. So it's unfortunate, but I don't think New Orleans is going anywhere. They're going to be like a 3-4 win team tops. In Carolina, I think is actually going to keep improving and win some more games. Even though they got rid of Thielen, they needed those picks to build for the future. And their O-line is still pretty good. And for the NFC West, I think it's kind of evident San Francisco's back. They're going to win that division. It's going to be San Francisco. It's going to be the Rams, Arizona. The Rams and Arizona are going to tie. Arizona's going to get in on the tiebreakers, and Seattle's going to finish last. Because I just don't have much faith in Sam Darnold. And if anything, I give more credit to Kevin O'Connell because he seems to be the quarterback whisperer. And I'm not a big fan of Seattle in general in terms of resetting and trading DK and everybody. So Jackson Smith and Jig was a good receiver, but he's going to need more than that. You know, and Kenneth Walker III is a pretty good running back, but last year was his best year in terms of staying healthy, but I just don't got a lot of faith in him, honestly. But that's just me. I've been wrong about Seattle before, but I'm not a big fan of this new coach and all the changes they've made in terms of roster turnover. The defense should be good, but the offense I have not much faith in, which is why I got San Francisco running away with it. Even though they got both of the Bosa brothers now too, so that also helps. Joey Bosa's in Buffalo.
Yeah, Bosa's in Buffalo.
Yeah. They still got Nick Bosa. My bad.
Yeah.
So that was it for me on the picks. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're getting ready to roll off. Ace, you wanna plug anything before we do?
Yeah, we are now part of the Fans First Sports Network. Look for us there. Please like, subscribe, download wherever you find your podcasts. Spotify. We are now hosted on Megaphone, so Apple Podcasts, please rate and review. Tell us what you think. I think you should still be able to find us on YouTube. I'm going to be uploading the videos there. And yeah, man, check for us. Uptown Parlay Podcast, the world's greatest sports podcast, sports betting podcast. And yeah, keep taking Buffalo on the points. We got a good defense. Those unders are going to come in handy later for y'all on the college picks. And also, I'm taking LSU and I'm taking Miami to win college football.
Right. Okay.
Just a little
Texas, Ohio State.
Little taste. I'm going with Texas. Ohio State's gotten 9 new players starting on defense. And whenever you do that in college, you can't just plug and play after you won the national championship. I don't think anybody's going to be repeating anytime soon like Georgia, because now guys are leaving for NIL money and they're leaving to get to the NFL. And Ohio State lost a lot on defense. And they got a brand new quarterback in Julian Saint, and Texas has the best pass rush in the country. Point blank, period. Not a big Longhorns fan, but they good.
I can't see Ohio State losing in their home opener as the defending champion. That's all. I just can't pick against them. I agree with everything you said, but I just can't pick against them. I will say though, shout out to the NIL because I'm actually happy with it, because when I play NCAA 26 on PlayStation now, I get to know who these players are. And that's actually very important, because I didn't even realize Carson Beck is now the new quarterback in the University of Miami. I had no clue I thought he retired and became a banker because he didn't get drafted to the NFL. But no, he's the starting quarterback for the Miami Hurricanes. So the NIL has helped me do that, helped me figure out who all these players are as we prepare for the draft season, because that's where I got my information about players when we were growing up, and it's where I'm getting my information about players now. So shout out to NIL, players' names on jerseys in the college football game. It works for me. Ace, you're on mute.
Shout out to my UB Bulls for covering the spread against Minnesota, giving them a scare in their home opener. Only losing by 13, held them scoreless, and only down by 4 going into halftime. Amazing defense, and a couple of guys that are going to get drafted, so keep a lookout for them. And yeah, bet them on the unders. The MAC is back, baby. We may not be competing for that group of 5 spot, but I think USF is. So if you want a dark horse team to take to make the playoff out of the group of 5, keep following USF all season. I think they should be good in the American. I like these small schools, so shout out to them and shout out to Buffalo. And yeah, Miami fans, be happy. I think y'all going to win this one. Go Canes.
All right. Till next time. Peace.
And as usual, shout out the Knicks. Levon, you got any shout outs?
No, I don't have any shout outs. Except Ant. Wish he was here, especially when we started talking about the Jets coming in last. Did we pick the Jets to come in last? He would have loved that.
I didn't. I have the Jets coming in. I have the Jets coming in second.
Yeah, I did. I think I didn't. None of us did. No, I had the Patriots second to last.
I think the Patriots are going to be way worse than people think. I think Drake May is good, but like he's throwing to a guy who just came off of ACL injury, so it is what it is. But we out though. Peace.
Peace.